Hey, Kelly, Stripe is acquiring Nigerian payments company Paystack for what sources tell me is roughly $200 million.
In 2020, Stripe acquired Paystack for over $200 million. Most people celebrated the founders, Selar and Oche Olubi, but something else was happening that nobody paid attention to. The employees who had worked at Paystack were quietly leaving to start their own companies. And they weren't just starting companies, they were building the next generation of African tech giants. This is the story of the Paystack Mafia, how a single Nigerian fintech company became the training ground for Africa's next generation of tech founders, and why I compare them to the legendary PayPal Mafia. Before we talk about the Paystack Mafia, we need to understand what made the original PayPal Mafia so legendary. In the late 90s, a company called Confinity, founded by Peter Thiel and Max Levchin, merged with X.com, founded by Elon Musk. This became PayPal. In 2002, eBay acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion. But here's where it gets interesting. The PayPal team didn't just disappear. They stayed connected and went on to build some of the biggest companies in the world. Peter Thiel invested early in Facebook and founded Palantir. Elon Musk built Tesla and SpaceX. Reid Hoffman founded LinkedIn. Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Joe Karim created YouTube. The list goes on. These weren't just successful entrepreneurs, they were a network. They invested in each other, hired from each other, and learned from each other. This is what made them a mafia, not in the criminal sense, but because they were a tight-knit group that looked out for each other and went on to reshape entire industries. But this isn't a Silicon Valley story anymore. The same pattern is playing out in Nigeria. In 2015, two friends, Shola Akinade and Oche Olubi, founded Paystack to solve online payments in Nigeria. I made a whole video on that, I'll link it in the description. But here's what you need to know for this story. Paystack became the first Nigerian company to be accepted into Y Combinator in 2015. By 2018, they were handling over 15% of all online transactions in Nigeria. The company attracted some of the brightest engineering and product minds in Nigeria. People like Femi Aluko, Olumide Ojo, Emmanuel Okeke, Abdulhammid Hassan. These weren't just employees collecting paychecks, they were learning how to build systems that handled millions of transactions daily. They were learning how to think at scale. And then something interesting started happening. One by one, they started leaving, not because Paystack was a bad place to work. In fact, it was the opposite. It had given them the confidence and skills to build their own companies. The first major departure came in 2019. Abdulhammid Hassan had been at Paystack for less than a year. At Paystack, he worked as a product manager, learning how to build products that people actually wanted. 11 months after joining Paystack, Hassan left to co-found Voyance, a startup focused on data infrastructure. But he didn't stop there. He left Voyance to team up with Orchestra, and together they launched Mono in August 2020. Mono is an open banking platform that provides APIs, allowing businesses to access their customers' bank accounts with permission. In 2021, Mono got accepted into Y Combinator, just like Paystack. Today, Mono has raised over $17.5 million and operates in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and Kenya. But Hassan wasn't the only one building. Around the same time, other Paystack alumni were quietly starting their own companies. Idorei Obong, a former Android engineer at Paystack, left and teamed up with Joseph Femi to launch Grey in 2020. Grey, originally called Aboki Africa, provides digital foreign accounts for Africans, allowing them to send and receive international payments. Hassan, the founder of Mono and fellow Paystack alumnus, led Grey's first funding round in November 2021. Grey went on to join Y Combinator in 2022 and raised a $2 million seed round. The pattern was becoming clear. Then there's Emmanuel Okeke. At Paystack, Okeke's career moved at lightning speed. In just 1 year, he went from senior software engineer to engineering manager to software technical lead. In May 2020, he left. A month later, he co-founded Braz with Shola Akindolu. Braz is a business bank for small and medium-sized businesses, and guess who's one of their investors? Oche Olubi, the co-founder of Paystack. In May 2020, Malik Bolakile joined Paystack as a financial crimes compliance consultant. 8 months later, he was promoted to lead the unit. In 2022, after 2 years at Paystack, he left to co-found StartButton with Kelechi Oti. StartButton is a platform that enables businesses accept payments in local currencies and manage local compliance without needing to establish local offices. The startup operates across 5 African markets: South Africa, Rwanda, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana. And here's the kicker: Paystack partnered with StartButton for its merchant expansion programs. Then came Femi Aluko and Olumide Ojo, the two we talked about in the previous video. Both had been at Paystack since the early days. In February 2022, they left to build Chowdeck. When Femi announced his departure, he wrote, "Paystack is family. Paystack built and trained me. I'm happy I passed through Paystack. Every single era in Paystack prepared me for the problems I'm solving today. I'm leaving Paystack to build Chowdeck because I cannot combine both anymore." Chowdeck launched in October 2021 as a food delivery platform focused on speed and reliability. In 2024, they raised $2.5 million in seed funding. Today, they process over 1 million orders monthly across 11 cities. Solar Akinlade and Ezra Olubi invested in their seed round. Paystack alumni weren't just starting companies, they were raising significant funding, they were building in diverse sectors, and most importantly, they were investing in and supporting each other. But the story doesn't end there. There's Femi Aluko, who spent 3 years at Paystack as a senior software engineer. In April 2022, he co-founded Budgeti, a Y Combinator-backed startup that provides corporate cards and spend management tools for African businesses. Budgeti has raised over $2 million. There's Jimmy Kwasi, who spent 2 years at Paystack before launching Monaco, a new bank targeting African migrants in Europe. Monaco got into the Y Combinator summer 2022 batch. There's Yinka Adewuyi, who joined Paystack as a customer success expert in 2017. In 2024, he left with 3 other former Paystack employees, all early members of the Paystack team, to launch Go Lemon, a grocery and household delivery startup. When asked why he left, Yinka said, "Paystack is a big example, one that is close to home, of something that was created in Nigeria by sheer will and force. And the impression that Paystack has always left on me is that there is an opportunity for many more things to work." There's Ikechukwu Obi, who joined Paystack in 2017 when the company had just 20 employees. He climbed from technical product specialist to integration lead. After leaving, he founded Alvative, a company that connects African startups with junior tech talent. There's Oluseun Odusanya, who started as a key account manager at Paystack. He went on to work at Patricia, a crypto startup, before founding Numero, a business bank for entrepreneurs. A year later, he founded Squaremy, focused on streamlining financial transactions. And then there was Douglas Kendyson, one of the earliest Paystack employees. He joined in the company's early days as both a customer success expert and a software engineer. After 11 months at Paystack, he moved to Flutterwave, then continued his career at other companies. But here's what's interesting. While working at Paystack, Kendyson founded Selar, an e-commerce platform that allows creators to sell digital products like ebooks and courses. In 2023, the platform facilitated over 4 billion naira in payouts to creators. So let's do the maths. At least 14 former Paystack employees have co-founded around 14 startups. These startups have collectively raised over $50 million. They operate across multiple African countries and serve hundreds of thousands of customers. This is what makes a mafia the Silicon Valley kind. A network of highly talented people who learn from the same source, share the same values, and leverage their connections to build the next generation of great companies. But here's the question: why did this happen with Paystack? What made the company a training ground for so many successful founders? First, Paystack hired for potential, not just experience. Many of these founders joined as early employees, some even as interns. The company took chances on young, hungry talents and gave them real responsibility. Second, Paystack gave employees real ownership. They weren't just executing tasks, they were solving problems, building systems, talking to customers, making decisions. It felt less like a job and more like running your own company.
Coming into Paystack, one of the things that impressed me from the onset was during the onboarding, I actually had to do customer service work. Like I had to answer emails, answer calls, speak to customers. Before you actually dive into the programming aspect or the engineering aspect, you already have a sense of what customers love about the product, what they hate about the product.
Third, Paystack operated in one of the hardest markets in the world, Nigeria. Building a payments company in Nigeria meant dealing with unreliable infrastructure, complex regulations, and low trust. Every day was a masterclass in problem solving. If you can build in Nigeria, I'm sure you can build anywhere. Fourth, the founders, Shola and Ezra, led by example. They were technical founders who understood the product deeply. They were genuinely invested in their team's growth. When their employees left to start their own companies, they didn't see it as betrayal, they saw it as validation. They invested in their companies and celebrated their wins. The Paystack Mafia is still young. Some will fail, some will pivot, but some may become the next generation of Africa's tech giants. That's the real legacy of Paystack. Just the way PayPal Mafia changed the world, the Paystack Mafia is changing Africa, and they are just getting started. If you enjoyed the video or learned something from it, hit the like button and subscribe if you're interested in these types of stories. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.